The boxing world stood at attention when veteran trainer Teddy Atlas delivered a sobering reality check to Morojin Akhmadaliev about his upcoming challenge against pound-for-pound king Naoya Inoue. Atlas, known for his brutally honest analysis, painted a grim picture for the former unified champion, suggesting the Japanese phenom represents an entirely different level of danger. Akhmadaliev, world-class fighter with Olympic pedigree, Atlas began, but Inoue operates on a plane of violence that defies conventional boxing wisdom. The veteran trainer emphasized how Inoue's unique combination of concussive power, supernatural timing, and underrated defensive skills create near insurmountable challenges for any opponent. He pointed to Inoue's ability to generate knockout force from impossible angles and his preternatural ability to counter before combinations even develop as attributes that make him virtually impossible to prepare for. Atlas delved deeper into the psychological warfare that accompanies facing Inoue, describing how the champion's aura of invincibility has broken elite fighters before the first bell. Atlas explained, there's always that pivotal moment when opponents realize they're completely outmatched. This usually occurs when challengers land their best shot only to eat a more devastating counter, or when they attempt to clinch and find Inoue digging vicious hooks to their liver. The trainer cautioned that Akhmadaliev's confidence could evaporate the moment he experiences Inoue's power firsthand, creating a downward spiral of doubt. Atlas referenced Inoue's recent demolition of Stephen Fulton, a fighter with similar dimensions to Akhmadaliev, as a blueprint for what could happen, noting how Fulton was reduced to a helpless shell within minutes despite being considered a tricky stylistic challenge. The technical breakdown became even more concerning as Atlas highlighted Akhmadaliev's potential vulnerabilities, while acknowledging the USB's Olympic pedigree and championship experience. Atlas stressed these attributes merely elevate him from hopeless to, quote, dangerously overmatched. He pointed to Akhmadaliev's struggles against lesser opposition as evidence he lacks the elite defensive skills needed to survive Inoue's onslaught. Atlas noted, getting hit by Ryosuke Yuasa is one thing, but Inoue's power is like comparing a firecracker to a grenade. The trainer was particularly concerned about Akhmadaliev's tendency to rely on volume and pressure, which could play directly into Inoue's strengths. He predicted Inoue would systematically break down Akhmadaliev's high guard with body shots before unleashing fight-ending combinations upstairs once the USB's hands began to drop from the accumulated damage. Physical attributes only told part of the story. According to Atlas, what makes Inoue truly special is his extraordinary fight IQ and ability to adapt mid-bout. The trainer drew parallels to chess masters who see several moves ahead, explaining how Inoue methodically breaks down opponents by identifying and exploiting subtle flaws in their defense. Against a fighter like a model who depends on aggression and volume, this cerebral approach could prove particularly devastating. Atlas envisioned Inoue using the first few rounds to study Ahmad Ali's patterns before unleashing increasingly accurate and powerful counters as the fight progresses. This gradual dismantling, the trainer suggested, often proves more psychologically damaging than an early knockout because it demonstrates the complete futility of resistance. Atlas offered a grim round-by-round prediction, forecasting that while Akhmadaliev might have some initial success using movement and angles, he would eventually get drawn into Inoue's preferred range. By round 4 or 5, Atlas projected Inoue will have figured out the timing and distance, and that's when the real punishment begins. He described a scenario where body shots would gradually break down Akhmadaliev's resistance, slowing his footwork and making him a stationary target for Inoue's fight-ending combinations. The trainer emphasized how Inoue's body attack serves as the great equalizer against taller opponents, systematically removing their reach advantage by forcing them to drop their hands in defensive punishing blows to the midsection. The discussion turned to whether Akhmadaliev should even take this fight at his current stage of development. Alice suggested that USB might benefit from more developmental bouts before challenging someone of Inoue's caliber, listing several contenders who could provide valuable tests without the careering risk. There's no shame in building more experience, Atlas argued, expressing concern that a devastating loss could permanently damage Akhmadaliev's confidence and marketability. He pointed out that while champions are expected to face the best, there's a difference between tough challenges and near-certain destruction. The trainer questioned whether Akhmadaliev's team had properly considered the long-term consequences of matching their fighter against such a dominant force at this particular moment in his career. Atlas concluded with a sobering assessment of Inoue's place in boxing history, comparing his dominance to legends like Sugar Ray Robinson and Roberto Duran in their primes. We're witnessing one of the all-time greats at his peak, Atlas stated, suggesting that Akhmadaliev isn't just fighting a champion, but stepping into the ring with a generational talent who may be remembered as one of the greatest fighters ever. This historical context made Atlas's warning even more dire. He wasn't just predicting a loss for Akhmadaliev, but potentially a career-defining beating that could alter the USA's trajectory in the sport. The trainer's final words carried the weight of decades spent in boxing corners. There's brave, and then there's foolish. I hope Akhmadaliev's team understands the difference before it's too late. As the September Showdown approaches, Atlas's analysis looms over the matchup like a dark cloud. His breakdown suggests that while all championship fights are dangerous, facing now represents a unique category of risk that could have lasting consequences. The veteran trainer's grim prediction raises profound questions about matchmaking in modern boxing and whether certain fighters should be protected from opponents who pose existential threats to their careers. Whether Akhmadaliev can defy these ominous warnings and overcome what appears to be an almost insurmountable challenge remains one of boxing's most compelling questions. Heading into the fall, the fight promises to either cement Inoue's legacy as an all-time great or produce one of the sport's most shocking upsets. In recent memory, the boxing community now watches with bated breath